Hey guys, Philip Shadler here, a local real estate agent in Los Angeles, and this is my February report for real estate. So let's dive right into it. Let me share my screen here with you and see what we're going to go through today. So first off, we have single female home ownership outperforms male home ownership. This is very interesting to me because you would think, why is that? And in all fairness, you have to say that many women outlive their husbands. So that's why the single female home ownership is higher than male. But it is quite a big difference. Let me see if I can get the other screen up here real quick. Let's see here. So single women here, let me just highlight this real quick. Single women who live alone, like Wright, owns millions of more homes than their male counterparts, despite typically earning less than men do. Single women own roughly 10.7 million homes compared to 8 million for single men. So again, guys, you have to kind of catch up with that. If you need to buy a property, please call me. But this is interesting data, and I think this is great. So men have something to catch up to. Now let's go back to the report sheet here. It's important to know the difference between interest rates and mortgage rates. And sometimes people believe that when the Feds raise the interest rate, that the mortgage rates are at the same level. This is not necessarily true. Currently, the interest rate, it was just raised another quarter, and the overnight rate is 4.75. So interest rates probably were around 7%, but mortgage rates are currently around 6.15%. And if you have a good relationship with a lender, you would actually might even get a 5.5 or 5.75. So that's very, very important to know, because at the same time, I want to mention, like, for example, let's say you purchased a home a year and a half ago, where everybody paid $100,000 to $200,000 over asking price, which was outrageous environment, right? So with a 3.5% interest rate at that time and paying $100,000, $200,000 over, and now looking at an interest rate of 5.5 or 5.75, but you're not overpaying $100,000 or $200,000. And you're also in an environment where, let's call it a high interest environment, where people can actually negotiate the price down a little bit. This is also the reasons why sellers are not panicking right now. They just pulled back, because I believe even Goldman Sachs recently just revised their statement. Let's see where it was here. Goldman Sachs revises a housing market forecast, because 6 months ago, they were actually saying that the big crash is coming, like many sources, like the news, for example, were saying 6 months ago that the crash is coming. Well, the crash has not happened and is unlikely to come, because the recession is not as bad and inflation is easing off a little bit. This is also very interesting, because obviously the hike of the interest rates is what the Feds were planning to do to lower the inflation rate. And from what I've read lately, it's hovering around 6 or 7%. We were almost at 9 or 8%. So it has come down a little bit. So it's working. Now, the Feds have just raised rates now, and they have another meeting on March 15th, where it's very likely they're going to raise it another quarter. And then May 3rd and 4th, I think, is another meeting for the Feds where they're going to discuss the new strategy going forward. So this may, again, stress the word may be the last time of an interest rate hike. And this is interesting for buyers to know, because if you know where the peak is, that would be the time to get into the market and then refinance later. What you could also do is get a 5 or 7 year ARM. An ARM stands for adjustable rate mortgage. So for example, you lock yourself in at 5.5% for 5 years or 7 years, and then you can refinance later as well. So that's also an option. With an ARM, you usually get a better rate, because adjustable rate mortgages usually have a better rate. However, if you are in the adjustable area, then it can be dicey, and I'm not sure. That's something you have to figure out and run the numbers yourself. Now, let's look at some data. Let's look at the median home prices, for example. So median home prices have increased from last year, as you can see here. So last year was $379,900 for the median home price. This is in the US. And this is, again, single family homes. This is not including condominiums and townhouses. And it has risen to $414,900. So interesting what's happening here is also we have a incline in prices, 2.9% to be precise. And this is, again, regional. It's not all over the place. Again, real estate, you have to understand, is regional. So in some areas, there's still price reductions going on, but there are some places where more multiple offers are coming in again. Because think about it, people have been waiting for the prices to drop, which hasn't really happened that much. Maybe the price reduction is between 1% and 5% here in LA. Again, in different regions, it's more. Phoenix might be more severe. Boise, Idaho might be more severe because there was a big draw that a lot of people fled to during the pandemic. So the interesting thing is that an increase in prices is something what people really don't expect this time around. And also there are signs that the sellers market will probably get better in the summer and in the fall. That would be my guess from looking at the situation and all that I've seen recently. Now let's look at total inventory. The total inventory, again, is for January 2023 is down by 1.4% this week. So we're at 465,654. That is really low inventory. Again, I want to stress this is single family homes. This is not condominiums and townhouses. However, a healthy market, as you can see here in July 2015, was at 1.2 or 1.4 million units on the market in the inventory. That would be a healthy supply, and this will be bringing the prices down drastically if this would be the case. But this is not the case. We have a very low inventory, and this is what keeps the prices, the home prices, from collapsing. This is basically what keeps it stabilized. Now, let's look at another data sheet here. Let's see, for example, price reductions. So we have noticed that the buyers continuing to support prices almost 34%. What this would indicate is that almost 40% of homes have not reduced the prices. They're basically, the buyers are paying the list prices, which is interesting. So that has changed. And since last July, I would say price reductions have gone back about 35%. So it's almost in the same figure there. This is an interesting stats, I would say. Now, we noticed on December 28th, there was a very sharp increase in buyer home searches, online home searches, which is interesting. So that would indicate to me that buyers who have been holding back and waiting are thinking, well, I'm going to wait till the prices drop, but they see that the prices are not dropping. And instead, the mortgage rates have actually become more favorable, from 7% or almost 7%. They're now at 6.15. And again, if you have a good lender, I believe you might be able to get 5.5. If you do a buy down, or if you have a situation where the seller pays something towards your points, then you can also reduce that rate as well. Maybe around 5.5, somewhere in there. Again, you would have to talk to a lender, and I have a couple of people that are really, really good in that department. Let's see here. Redfin reports pending home sales rise for the first time in 14 months. This is January 25th, 2023. So this just came out, as you can see. Pending sales increased 3% in December from the month before. The first monthly gain since October 2021. But sellers remained on the sidelines. Like I said earlier, they're just pulled back, with new listings posting the biggest annual drop since the start of the pandemic. Seasonally adjusted pending home sales rose 2.9% nationwide in December. This was what I was referring to earlier. The first month-over-month increase since October 2021. So this is also very interesting because, again, this is due to the low inventory and also to the fact that there is no crash as people have said it would come. Let's see what else we have here really quick. We have the medium market, we have the price reductions, and there was, of course, Fannie Mae says housing sector awaits improvement in affordability, modest recession still expected. Now, Goldman Sachs and other sources have kind of said the recession, they have changed their prediction, because Goldman Sachs, I think about 8 months ago, said a total crash, the big recession is coming. They have changed and revised their statement since then. Because as we see, the job market is very strong, for example. There's very low unemployment. So the recession is not as bad, but it does. If you look historically, a recession always follows a Fed interest rate hike. This is just traditionally or historically always been the same way. And again, I think I mentioned earlier, if you purchased a home 2 years ago with a low interest rate and now when overpaying and now not overpaying, you have to run the numbers. You might be arriving at a very similar monthly mortgage payment. But again, you have to run the numbers to really make sure it makes sense, in that idea, for you, because it's all individual. Let's see here. We have, let me just get this screen up here really quick, if I can find it. This is also interesting right here. Let me just close this. Survey finds Americans wildly misinformed on housing market. So this is interesting because I always say that when you get the news, if you're a serious buyer and you are about to engage in a purchase of a home, you want to be well informed. And probably the worst place to get your information is the news, because the news is in the business to dramatize. The news is in the business to scare. The more they scare you, the more money they make, I guess, in a sense. However, I would highly recommend to get your sources from, let me just share that screen really quickly again from before here. Get your sources from Altus Research, for example. Right here, Altus Research, CoreLogic, Fannie Mae, National Association of Realtors, for example. Those are reliable sources where you can get your real estate information from that you can actually count on and be confident, that you get the proper information. Because again, the news is not really going to be your friend in the sense of having the right information for you to make an educated decision. Let's see, housing actor, we had a total inventory and we had price increases are fewer. I believe we saw that already. Yep. Percent of active market with price increases are, as you can see, this is 2023. We're just kind of 2.4 and rising rapidly. So this is interesting because, again, about a 2.9, 3%, again, there's different data, but it's around the 2.5 and 3% price increases. So again, this is because of low inventory. That would be the reason why. And this would also be here to stay, in my opinion, because I think when you look into the end of the year this year, I don't think there's going to be a lot of price reductions going on. I think the market is actually going to heat up. And I think in the summer and fall, it'll be a good time for sellers to come forward and put their home on the market, because they'll get more money for it. And also, again, if we see that the interest rate hike has reached its peak, that's when buyers will come forward, and then you will have more competition. So the right time to jump in is early. As Sir Templeton always used to say, the best time to buy is when buyer pessimism is at its height. And this is very true. And it's getting a little bit less than that. But I remember 2-3 months ago, everybody says, oh, it's a bad time to buy. This is the worst time to buy. And again, for long term, you have to do your numbers. For long term, it's not a bad time to buy, because remember, you can always refinance later. So it's very, very important to know that. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me at 310-918-2260. Also, what I wanted to mention really quickly, we have a new listing in Santa Monica. And this is a mixed zone listing. It is approximately 4,500 square foot lot. It is in the Pico area, 2218 Pico Boulevard. If you go to my YouTube channel, Philip A. Schadler, just go to YouTube and type in Philip A. Schadler, and you will see Santa Monica Investment Opportunity. There's a video there, which is a drone video, which shows you exactly where the property is located at. And there's a Virginia Avenue Park across the street. So it's a great potential. Obviously, it's a tear down. It's for redevelopment, but it's a great investment opportunity, currently offered at $2.4 million. I'm going to be out of town for a couple of weeks, but my friend Paul, my partner Paul, is going to handle that transaction as well. So if you have any questions, call the number on the screen when you see the video. Again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. And if you could like and subscribe to my channel, that'd be great. That would greatly help me. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.